Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to an episode on Connect to the Quran with your host Najman Sari. And we've been we've been going through Surah Baqarah in a little synopsis manner, in a summary, not giving you any great detail, but still walking you through with it. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So in Surah Al-Fatiha, we ask for guidance. In Surah Baqarah starts with who the guidance is for the muttaqi, and then it also talks about universal values of which resonate, which hit home for everybody. So that is what time and again throughout the Quran, it is the one who has taqwa, the one who is aware that there's a higher creator, there is a Allah. But even for the non-Muslim who does have this awareness, it is calling on to them, and it does have meaning. Just on a side note, I'll sort of digress as I usually do here, that at different places in the Quran, different things resonate for people, and there's a sort of a saying that said that somebody, Mamadou Pictol, became Muslim. Maybe at the 22nd juz is when finally the penny dropped, or whatever it was meaningful. For other places, sometimes it's before. But to say that there is for all of us, and if we even randomly open the Quran, we will find that day of our heart. And it's, it needs a soft heart. It needs a heart that is open, not for arrogance, not to do with defiance, not to do with ego. And the very first juz in showcasing Satan's shaitan and his attitude. So it was, and all the things that the Bani Israel did, it was the antithesis of pride. Pride is something that's going to cause your downfall. Now we were in the second juz, and we looked at some pretty beautiful passages on sabr and salah, and ulaika alayhim salawatu min rabbihim wa ulaika humul muflihun. They are the successful ones, the ones who say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun when they go through calamity. So that's an uplifting one of solace. Then in Surah Ayatul Bir, the next one that we looked at, Ayah 177 in Surah Baqarah, in the second juz, has to do with what goodness is. And each of us can really bring to the fore a very individual type of goodness for society, for things. And one of the beautiful things also in our faith is that it doesn't have to be with fanfare. It doesn't have to be with pumping glory. We go back to what intentions are, actions are by intention. So what is, and we know the hadith also of the person, the scholar sitting, and Allah will say, no, well, you did it for pumping glory. The one who was a shaheed, you did it for pumping glory. So those people are outside what the niyyah is. So the beauty of goodness is, and if you remember, I love the ayah of Surah Rahman, Hal Jaza'ul Ihsan illa al-Ihsan. I think it's ayah 50 or 55, or it could be 60 in Surah Rahman, which says that, is there any goodness for goodness other than goodness? And ihsan is also a beautiful word, which actually is more to do with excellence. So here, when we're talking about bir and its goodness, any good is good enough, but just do it, and do it with the right intention. Now, it's not to earn brownie points with the boss, it's not to get a promotion, or it's not for this, or it's not for that. That could be like a spin-off or a side thing, but what is your intention for goodness? And if you can be good to the needy, the kind, the people who are overlooked in society. And it doesn't always have to be with a basket full of goodies, it's just sheer kindness. And later on, I think in the same surah comes the idea that rather than giving somebody a gift and then saying, oh, but don't you remember I gave you that? Didn't I help bail you out, get this done or that done? It says very clearly in this surah itself, and I'm not sure where it is exactly, it's in the juz too, but rather a smile, a kind word. And we talk about a sadaqah is as little as a smile. This is the kind of thing we need to connect with and to when we read these ayahs. And because again, it's not just an academic exercise, it's not just for I read it so I'll get some brownie points for to earn, it's more how to live your life, how to live your life in a wholesome way, in a way connected with the Quran, in a way connected to our Allah, it's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, connected to our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, taking from him the very best way of doing things, the sunnah. What is the sunnah? It is, we want to emulate the one we believe truly to be the best of the best of Ashraf al-Makhluq. The best is human beings, but he is the best of the best as a person. The Kamil. So now I'm going to take you to Ayah 183, which is in Surah, in the second juz of Surah Baqarah, and this is the only place where Ramadan is mentioned. And I'm just going to read you the first passage. It goes over a few ayahs, but the first one goes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyama, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum, la'allakum tattaqun. So back, it's la'allakum tattaqun, so that you may achieve taqwa. So it is, and the kutiba, ya ayyuhallazina amanu, kutiba alaykum, it has been written down for you, it's been decreed. So the kutiba word has to do with the kitab, has to do with writing. Look at the beauty of the Arabic language. The word for the book and writing is from the same root. So obviously you write, you compile it, and you turn it. So that's just on as a side note. But so the idea of kutiba is that it has been decreed, it's been inscribed, it's been declared mandatory for you. And the end of the ayah is la'allakum tattaqun, so that you may have taqwa. So again, link it all the way back to the beginning of Surah Baqarah, where hudal lil muttaqin, for the muttaqi, for the one who is God conscious, who is fearful of Allah. And we always have this debate with the young ones about what is fearing. No, it's not fearing like you fear a lion or you have a terror fear, but it is more you fear being in disobedience, you fear displeasing Allah, and so on. And we know with our elders, that's a way to relate it to children. You will be sad if your teacher is upset. You will be sad if your mother is upset. So that is a kind of fear you will carry in your heart. That's why you'll do your homework or you'll do what your mom says. And million times more is it that we need to have that awareness that, Ya Allah, I just hope what I did wasn't something that you will take me to task, you will be displeased with me. And the beauty is that inshallah, once we sort of are able to imbibe it at a young age with young children, that awareness stays with you. And that's awareness that, yes, okay, I'm going to university, I'm doing this, but Allah, may it all be to earn your pleasure, for the goodness of may I become something that is useful to society, and you love us, and our form of worship is to serve your creation. Be it kind to the animal, be it kind to everybody. That spirit of kindness will come, is developed, or is best developed if you have. Yes, we can talk about non-Muslims can also be kind, they're all that. But the important thing for us is that we need to have it for the pleasure of Allah. So that's the key. So anyway, so that's where Ramadan comes in. This is the only time that you're told to do fasting. And then after the one ayah further, it says that Shahru Ramadan allazi unzila alayhi Qur'ana hudal linnas. So it is in Ramadan that the Quran was first revealed. It has been revealed, and it is for hudal linnas. It is guidance for all of man who comes to it. It's guidance and judgment between what is right and wrong, and it is a furqan. So this is so two things I wanted to just highlight here is that this is the if when you say, well, why do you fast? I'm referring to those of us who have dealings with non-Muslims. Well, we are declared, even the people before us. That's what came up in Ayah 183. That even the people before, they did it in different modes. It's the dry fast, the wet fast. You don't eat, but you can drink. You can't have fish, but you can have something. Or you can have fish. You can't have meat. You can do whatever. The fast of Lent and so on. So there is a concept of fasting for purity. And now, if you want to go into the science, and there's so much that now it's science telling us that fasting is good for us. Intermittent fasting is not every day throughout the year, but like Dawud alayhi salam, one day yes, one day no, and so on. So the merits are infinite, and the sorrowful thing is that sometimes if the West tells us suddenly as a medical thing, now we're all on board about fasting, but when Allah tells us, it's like, yeah, maybe. So anyway, and the beauty of this in this passage and in this ayah, if you miss, if you're ill, make up for it. And the beauty of this make up for it is, when you've got a good thing, it's like the sale is over. Can I take the thing finished? Can I have a rain check? Can I come back? Sometimes they'll give it to you, sometimes not. So here Allah is saying, because there is so much merit in it, and He says the reward for your fasting person is Allah Himself. So with that in mind, we need to that's why we are told that we can cover up those days of our fasting, because there's so much goodness, and have that belief that when you do it afterwards, also after the month of Ramadan, I know it's difficult to carry, you can't sort of have the same image of the Taraweeh and the Suhoor and the Iftar and the whole thing, but the merit of that fasting to make up, in Allah's eyes, you will get the same reward. And if we can inculcate that. So that is one of the beautiful things. And the other thing that comes up after these ayahs, which is beautiful, it goes over. But here is the only time when Ramadan is mentioned. So for you to want to know, where in the Quran does it talk about Ramadan? Well, right here in the second juz of Surah Baqarah is what we have it. So we'll leave it and continue with that after the break. But for the moment, we're going to go for a break. And so just renew our intentions and just see why is it that we want to connect with the Quran. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back. We were just looking at the ayahs on fasting and of how the fasting was, the Quran came down in Ramadan. And the beauty of it, and we have it also in another surah, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatul qadr, where laylatul qadr khayrun min alfi shahr, and how this is laylatul qadr. Laylatul qadr is in Ramadan, and how in Ramadan the Quran was revealed. So just to sort of backtrack and maybe recover a few points, is the Quran is in Lawh Mahfuz. It came down, it was revealed, it came down on block on Laylatul Qadr from the Lawh Mahfuz, which is by the Arsh of Allah, down to the lowest heaven in one block. And then over a period of 23 years, it was revealed to our Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam via Jibreel alayhi salam. So the reference that is made here is that the Quran was revealed when it came down. It was in the month of Ramadan, the whole block, and then we have it elsewhere that it was in Laylatul Qadr, and then it was revealed over time. But it was for Furqan, it was for it being so that it's a guidance and a Furqan for everybody, and whoever is present, let them fast. And if they can't, let them make up for it. And the idea of making up for it is so that you don't lose out on any brownie points. You don't lose out, that you missed a week or you were traveling or something. Do make it up. You are also given leeway if you're traveling, if you're not well, and Allah says He wishes ease for you. He doesn't wish to put you in difficulty. So this is all in this passage of ayah 185. The ayah that comes after is even more beautiful. After talking about taqwa, He says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِذَا ثَعَلَكَ عِبَادِي أني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلكم يرشدون. And here again, لعلكم يرشدون, being so that they may walk on. And what is it that Allah is saying? He's saying that, oh my servants, when my servants ask of you, concerning me, about me, salaka ibadi anni, about me, fa inni qareeb. And so this is also what comes up in the tafsir, fa inni qareeb, I am close to them. So it doesn't say, this is the beauty of the Arabic grammar, the Arabic things, is that when they ask you, you would think that the continuation of the sentence would be, tell them that I am. But Allah, in His love for us, in the love for us, abd, that we reach out to Allah. So we are asking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or our whoever, when we, the people of that time, that about Allah, tell us more about Him. Allah comes right in and He says, I am close to you. I am close to them. And so let them take heed of what I say, and I will fulfill all their needs, لَعَلَّكُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ, so that they may be rightly guided. So again, back to the idea of guidance, of being on the right track, that we need to reach out. Allah, out of love for us, He immediately answers. And this is the beauty of our faith, that we don't need intermediaries. Yes, we need to learn our faith, we need to go to madrasa, we need to be taught how to say our salah, we need to be taught all these things. But the beauty is that Allah has put in this beautiful Quran, has given it to us as a living miracle from the time of our Rasulullah till the end of times, that we just need to connect to it, to go in it. Everybody, inshallah, here I am sitting talking about it, but every moment I can be learning new things. Maybe some listener can be saying, but did you have a look at this passage? And I might have a, wow, I didn't have a look at that. So never are we presuming anybody, even the best of mufassir, the best of scholars, they always end up saying Allah knows best. And this is our small effort, tiny effort, to be able to understand Allah's word and to be able to share whatever goodness, because we know this idea of whatever we have good, it's a fitrah of mankind to want to share it. It's a fitrah of mankind to want to share goodness, whether it's a chocolate, an ice cream, whatever it is, or better things. Please study this subject. It's a wow subject. It's the latest thing. This is what will help you, or this is wow, this is what comes up. So we have that in our fitrah at daily level, at big levels, at wanting to present what are inventions about, you know, whether it's the electronic car, it's a whatever, or it's a rocket or something. All these things, what are they? It's something good we think is there in the dunya, and we want to share it. So in our faith, and you know, if you look back to all our inventors and our beautiful Bayruni, Ibn Hatim, the one who invented the telescope, I can't remember his name, you know, all these beautiful people, whether at the golden age of our deen, of how they made these discoveries, 90% of them were all huffaz. They knew their fiqh and their deen inside out, and on top of that, they wanted to discover how light travels, the qanun of Ibn Sina, of discovering the body, of discovering chemistry, just anything and everything. So there's this beautiful book called 1001 Inventions and about the Muslims. So look, sometimes, you know, people have issues with whatever is done to suit or to tailored for a Western way of doing things. And the Western way of doing things is a lot to do with marketing, a lot to do with propagating, whether it necessarily is true or not, but it's all about getting this message out by hook or by crook. That is not our faith. Our faith is standalone. Our faith is on the truth, on haqq, and haqq is not just the truth, it also incorporates the purpose. So it's purposeful. It's not just for the heck of it. So from that point of view, why did I get into that? It's just to showcase, know your own deen, know your own legacy, know your own stalwarts within our legacy. The Sahaba, they're all stars. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, follow whichever one. Sa'd ibn Waqas is all the way in China. And so there is this love of, while you're living, you make the best use of things. But remember, the hadith, which if it's a hadith or it's a hadith Qudsi, I'm not sure, but Allah said to the earth, hey earth, the one who runs after you, you keep shifting the goalpost and keep moving. And the one who is for me, who's my abd and who's looking for me, who's asking about me, who wants to come to me, you make everything easy. So Hajra alayhi salam, how she in Makkah running from Safa and Marwa, and that has come up here in Surah Baqarah, from going from one hill to the other looking for water, and Allah under the heel of her son makes water come out. And she says, Zam Zam, stop, stop, and there comes Zam Zam. It gives you goosebump moments. So Allah does see to you. When her husband Ibrahim alayhi salam left her, all she asked, she said, is it by Allah's decree that you're doing this? And he just nodded, or he said, this is in other stories, it's not from the Quran, it's from maybe it's from the hadith or something else, but that's how we know it to be. And so then she's totally in tawakkul. So the concept of tawakkul will come up, and how, you know, if we just connect with Allah, just be so sure. And you say, Ya Allah, yeah, okay, you know, and truly be talking to Allah between one salah and the other. For me, I'll say, you know, Allah, accept our salahs, accept it, but how much of it, attention span, is in pure concentration? Only Allah can accept our deficiencies in our salah. And that's why as soon as we do our salam, we say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah for our deficiencies of our salah. Yes, we say it. It requires sabr to be even able to take time out in the middle of the day from work, from whatever, and say your zuhur. But so Allah accepts that too. It's for His sake. And we pray that along the way, it just gets better and better along the way. So those are the kind of things that this passage, Ramadan, does here. And then it goes on about how men and women, we are libas to each other, we are covers to each other. And there's beautiful tafsirs on that too, how men and women, as in for spousal relationship, you are covered to each other, and we need to cover. So that's a whole other relationship discussion that can go on there. And this is all in Juz 2 of Surah Baqarah. And after that, we talk about Hajj, and there's other decrees. Do this, what you do when in the legacy you need to leave behind when you're dying, or when you're doing other things. And so this whole second juz, a lot of it is now giving directives. And in the middle of in the next juz we will cover next time, is when we're doing Ayatul Kursi and the merits of it and the beauty of it, and the placement. What I like to look at also in all these, like the first ayah that we looked at, ayah 155, was the placing of it. Where is the sabr told? It's giving you all this about the Bani Israel. Now we're going to be talking about the Qibla we have. So what does it require? It requires a strength of character. It requires a change in you to be saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. So I wanted to share for two levels, is that we always are saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. So nowhere in the Quran it is. We are talking about Ramadan. Nowhere Ramadan is given. We're talking about goodness to the poor and the kind. Well, no, the Qibla is so important, yes, but then it's also لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبَلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. Bir is not only that. It's not saying that it's you can do wherever you like, you know, just put your musalla and you can be praying wherever you like, whichever direction. No, it is saying that is not the only criteria of goodness. So it's again putting everything in perspective. The Qibla has just shifted from Jerusalem to Mecca. It was such a big thing. It was such a big issue. It has happened. But now, no, that's not the only goodness. That's not where the faith ends. So these are the kind of things that we need to bear in mind and take home. And then what unfolds thereafter. So inshallah, the next time we will look at Ayatul Kursi. But from Hajj and Ramadan, I felt this was the most useful because it's in Ramadan that the Quran came. So again, linked to the Quran, it is the Furqan. It is the one that will give you a sense of direction, a sense of right and wrong. And farq means to be able to distinguish between the two. So that's where we will leave it, inshallah. And we can go on and on with Surah Baqarah. It is only selective what I'm giving to you. Allah forgive me if I've left out something more meaningful. I should, but I just pray that whatever is said, and this is what we do when we say Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Ya Allah, untie the knot and let me whatever I say be heard and understood, and let it be also of benefit. So there I'll leave it. I can just pray that whatever is being said is for my benefit, that I renew my intentions, my faith, my love for my Creator, my love for the Quran, and it not be just a piece of for fun or for show or for anything else, but it truly be for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with that in mind, we will leave it today, and please pray for me as I pray for everybody out there listening, inshallah, and may it be of benefit to all of us. So subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.